very and interesting. And today we're going to be talking about mothers from the 1950s TV. I thought to do this since this past Sunday, we celebrated Mother's Day. I had recorded this all yesterday, but somehow it got deleted. So I have to do this all over again. Okay, and we'll learn about some of went on in the 50s, the decade. The decade of the 50s. And it works out if you all like this video of mothers from 1950s TV, maybe every year around Mother's Day I'll do another decade. Maybe next year I could do one mothers from the 1960s TV. So let's learn about some of the 50s. As you can see, I try to replicate some of the 50s fashion out of my closet to be, to look like a woman from the 50s. I tried. It was an effort, so, okay. Let's learn about what the time frame of the 1950s.
Hey, divas.
In the 1950s, women were expected to marry, have children, and devote themselves to maintaining a home and being the primary caregiver of children. So back then they had no light beyond the household. Not like today. It was a different standard back then in the 50s. This outdated ideology was shown in TV shows from the 1950s. At least it's not like the standard that it was in the 50s. At least is not like that today in 2025. It's a whole different ball game nowadays. Women can have a life beyond the house. That they don't have to be, that the guy is the only breadwinner in the house and the women have to stay home and be the little 50s housewife and look after the kids. How many her and her husband had. That's probably why a lot of medications came out of the 50s. Probably got a little depressing in the 50s. Being stuck at home and looking after the kids and maintaining the house. And yes. So, it was shown in TV shows from the 1950s. So, let's learn all about 10 moms that were from 1950s TV. So let's get into it. and see what moms that were on TV in the 50s. And maybe some you know. And mostly all of them are fictional except one. And I will not tell you which one is a non-fictional mom till later on in this video. Okay, let's get into it. Number 1, Lucy Ricardo from I Love Lucy. Lucy Ricardo is a fictional mom that was born in 1921 as Lucille Esmeralda McGillicuddy. Lucy Ricardo is a wacky wife of Cuban bandleader Ricky Ricardo. Lucy and her husband, Ricky, moved on August 6, 1948 to the old reconverted brownstone apartment at a fictional address of 623 East 68th Street in Lexington Hill neighborhood of Manhattan, New York City, New York State, USA.
I'm doing it in the German one.
Okay. Ricky tries to succeed in show business, while Lucy, always trying to help, usually manages to get in some kind of trouble that drives Ricky crazy. That's why in the show that you always when Lucy's trying to help Ricky with his music career, he tells her, "Lucy, go home," and Lucy goes, "Oh, Ricky." Their best friends are Fred and Ethel Mertz, who are also their landlords. Because I think if I remember watching the show, it's been a while, that Ethel and Fred live in the exact same building as Ricky and Lucy, right? Yeah. I think whether it's they live upstairs or downstairs. It's kind of like the same thing like in Three's Company, that the landlords live in the same building as Janet and Chrissy and Jack and Cindy and Terry. Which you think of it is apartment building. You hear most landlords do live in the apartment they own, unless they have a maintenance person that works there, kind of like the maintenance person on Friends did. Hi, Stash. Okay. let's continue on. Usually Ethel becomes Lucy's less than willing partner in crime. Lucy and Ricky welcome Lil Ricky in 1953, whose birth was a national TV event. Yeah, because, if I'm right, that births were never shown on TV before. It was a big thing that finally a female character of a TV show, pregnancy and birth, were birthing their first child, is going to be shown, because there's a lot of taboo things that were never shown on TV before. I won't, like on All in the Family, a TV show from the 70s, they never, with the toilet flushing on there, it was the first time ever on that on a TV show that you would ever hear the toilet flushing, because that was so taboo to actually show that somebody actually has indoor plumbing. And another taboo was in classic TV shows was to show a married couple sleeping in the exact same bed as each other. They had to, like in the Flintstones, the Flintstones and the Rubbles were always shown sleeping in separate beds. Because it was so taboo to show that a married couple shares the exact same bed, even if they were married. That makes me find it makes it kind of weird that back then that you should show that married couples sleep in the exact same bed. It does happen. But then there's a lot of taboo things, like back then sex wasn't even shown, because that would be taboo. You think of it, a lot of things are taboo back then, for that time, for the early age of TV. You know what, maybe sometime I will do an episode for this channel, Weird, Scary, and Interesting, about taboo topics that were never talked about on TV. It's too taboo. You look at it now, it'd be weird for today's standards of stuff that was never shown on TV, that eventually it was shown. And you think of it like with Lucy, back to Lucy's pregnancy and giving birth to little Ricky on TV. If it wasn't for, I buy the stash. Yeah. You think of it, if they never shown that Lucy was expecting on TV and had given birth to little Ricky, nowadays TV would be different. Like, for example, Phoebe Buffay on Friends, when she had her brother and sister-in-law's children, because she was a surrogate for them. her pregnancy carrying her nieces and nephew would have never shown if they never made a decision way back in the 50s that it'd be okay to show Lucy Ricardo going through pregnancy and giving birth. It would, TV would have been altered forever and stayed the course of that pregnancy was too taboo. So, at least they decided back then to change the norm and let a character on a TV show shown to be going through a natural thing as pregnancy and giving birth to her first and only child on TV. So, okay. I'll tell you how old Lucy was. Lucy was 30 years old when I Love Lucy started in 1951. And she was 36 years old when I Love Lucy ended in 1957. So she was shown to be in her 30s when the show was on. So she would have been, she was 30 when the show started. She would have been 32 when she had, no. Yep. Oh. Yeah, 32 when she had little Ricky. So she would have been just in her early 20s when she had her first child on TV. Okay. Later in the show's run, the Ricardos and the Mertzes moved to Hollywood, and where Ricky tried to become a movie star. Hollywood. Okay. How many friends would actually move with their friends to like Hollywood to see them break it big into the movies? Hollywood is a place where it can make you or break you. Okay, let's learn about who played the Ricardos on I Love Lucy. Lucy Ricardo was played by Lucille Ball. And Ricky was played by Lucille Ball's real life husband, Desi Arnaz. Later on, the Desi and Lucille did divorce. There is a movie based on Lucille Ball's life. I can't remember the title of it is, whether it's, I can look it up. But I've seen it before. Okay, the movie about Lucille Ball. Actually, it's a movie. It's not only about Lucille Ball. It's about Desi Arnaz too. It is called Being the Ricardos. It is a biographical drama film that focuses on their relationship and the production of the sitcom I Love Lucy. The film stars Nicole Kidman as Lucille Ball and Javier Bardem as Desi Arnaz. It says from IMDb says refuses Being the Cardinals delivers into Lucille Ball and Desi Arnaz's indescribable relationship and career struggles in the 50s as highlights political so it's supposed to be a pretty good movie. There's another film. It's the one I'm talking about. It's called Lucy. Lucy is a 2003 television film directed by Glenn Jordan. It is based on the life and career of actress and comedian Lucille Ball. No, that one, the movie Lucy from 2003, is supposed to be pretty good. Actually, yeah, it is pretty good. I've seen Lucy. I've never seen Being their Cardinals. So maybe I should look it up. It could be on some streaming channels right now. It just came out not long ago. Okay. So yeah. Oh, and in the movie Lucy, that's the one I was talking about, that it shows the breakdown of Lucille Ball and Desi Arnaz's marriage. I guess they must have been fighting all the time till it got to the point that they couldn't save the marriage, so they just called it quits. Their children, they have one of each. They were just little when their parents broke up. That'd be quite something for little kids going through their parents' divorce. And there's a ghost story that's connected to Lucille Ball. It's about the former house she lived in Hollywood. There's another episode I can do is about ghost stories from Hollywood. Because I guess the ghost story goes, Lucille Ball, it's heard it on one of the YouTube channels I was watching, that I guess whoever bought Lucille Ball's house at the time did a massive renovation down to the skeleton and renovated it. And I guess Lucille Ball's ghost didn't agree that that they were destroying her whole house, the house that she lived there. I think that's the exact same house that she lived in when she was married to Desi Arnaz. Okay, we'll continue while Anita goes do some dishes. Before she goes and does 40 winks. Okay. So yeah. Alright. Okay, yeah, there would be an idea to talk about ghost stories from Hollywood. Okay. Isn't Lucille Ball classified as the queen of comedy? Okay, let's continue on. Lil Ricky was played by Keith. Hopefully I get his last name right. The Boy Urix. Okay, there you go. Lucy Ricardo. Speaking about that, it just reminded me that ghost story that's connected with Lucille Ball. You know the theme song? I'm humming. That theme song is connected to her ghost. They say, yeah, anytime they know her presence is around, they hear the theme song of I Love Lucy. I say it comes from the attic of her former home. That'd be quite a ghost to have haunting in your house, is Lucille Ball. Lucille Ball was actually on one of the episodes of Three's Company. It was more or less, it wasn't really an episode, it was one of those specials that some TV shows have that they it was while she was on there, she was talking about the history of comedy and what makes a great comedy, and John Ritter came in looking for a script that he thought he left on the set of Three's Company, and he got all starstruck when he seen Lucille Ball. And it was like, oh, Lucille Ball! That's the great Lucille Ball! And only she asked, told him, calm down, John. And asked him, he asked, why are you here? And Lucille said, I'm here talking about what makes a great comedy. And he gave his little opinion. It's actually that little cameo appearance is shown in any DVD of Three's Company. I forget what episode or season it's from. I know we have the full series of Three's Company from the first episode when Susan Summers is still on the show to the last one with the last roommate, Terry Alden, played by Priscilla Barnes. Yeah. But point that out there that so anyone that watched Three's Company would have noticed that Lucille Ball was on the made a cameo appearance once on there. And there's a show that I'm watching on Tubi that has Lucille Ball on there. It's something Lucy, I think. It's about her playing a single mama too. I think it has her kids, Desi and her kids from Desi Arnaz on there. Okay, let's move on from Lucy Ricardo to number 2, which is Margaret Anderson from Father Knows Best. And she's not the only Margaret on this list. Now, anybody that has watched classic TV shows or is probably hold on, I'll be right back. Okay. Number 2, Margaret Anderson from Fathers Know Best. Anybody that's watched classic TV probably knows who Margaret Anderson is. Even ones that grew up in this era probably remember Fathers Knows Best in Margaret Anderson. So, okay. Margaret Anderson is a fictional mother that's birthday and maiden name is unknown. I tried to look. Can I ask a stupid question? Why are you boxing Sash?
He boxes at me.
Okay. Okay, I thought to mention the character's birthday if I could find it, or maiden name, but I can't find it. So, it's not the only.
What?
It's not the only character, not the only mom on here that was hard to find their birthday and maiden name. I guess the writers back then didn't think that the character needed a birth date or a maiden name. Maybe it wasn't. Okay. Margaret Anderson on Father Knows Best. She was transcended the usual generic She had too much character to be any mom, but enough authority to be every mom. She was pretty in a radiantly wholesome way. Margaret Anderson is married to James Anderson Sr., a salesman and a manager of General Insurance Company. So he works for an insurance company. He'd be bringing home a lot of money there. Probably.
I don't know where that cup's going.
Margaret and James have 2 daughters named Betty. Yeah, her nickname is Princess. And Kathy, her nickname is Kitten Anderson. And one son named James Bud is his nickname. Anderson Jr. Margaret and her family live at 607 Maple Avenue in a fictional town of Springfield. I don't know the state. It's like the Springfield from the TV show from the 80s. Is still going. The Simpsons. We don't know what state that's from. But it's in the Midwest. The Father Knows Best Spring. So that's quite a bit of states there. And USA. Margaret. Okay, we're gonna find out who played the Andersons family. Margaret Anderson was played by Jane Wyatt. And James Anderson Sr. was played by Robert Young. A lot of my older viewers would remember who Robert Young is. Betty Princess Anderson was played by Eleanor Elinor Donahue. Snowy, no fighting on camera. Kathy Kitten Anderson was played by Lorraine Chapman, and James Bud Anderson Jr. was played by Billy Gray. Oh yeah. Most of these people are actors are probably passed on now. But bless you. My audience would say bless you too. As a collective bless you.
Good, I have to change something.
Yeah, it's wash day. So yeah. I've never seen Father's Knows Best, but I'm good. Might have to. I wonder if it's on streaming channels nowadays. Probably. I'll have to look it up. Yeah, hold on. She needs help. I'll pause and I'll be back. Okay, I'm back. Let's go from Margaret Anderson from Father's Knows Best to number 11, which is Donna Stone from the Donna Reed Show. Donna Stone is a fictional mother that was born in the mid-20th century. I can exactly narrow down when Donna Stone was born, so I did and look for her maiden name. So Donna Stone is a middle-class housewife, perfect for that time frame. And her pediatrician husband, Dr. Alex Stone, face many adventures with their two teenage children, Mary and Jeff Stone. So they have one each. but Jeff's short for Jeffrey. While they live in a house at a fictional address of 4106 Oak Street in the fictional town of Forest Hills, California, USA. Donna Stone was played by Donna Reed. So yeah, we're going to learn about the Stone family now.
Is that gonna burn his video?
What?
The water?
No. It's not copyrighted. So yeah, Donna Stone was played by Donna Reed. That the show is named after, the Donna Reed show. And it's not the only show that's named after an actor that played in the show. In its show that's in this will be in this video. Dr. Alex Stone was played by Carl Bietz. And Mary Stone was played by Shelley Ferris. And Jeff Stone was played by Paul Peterson on the Donna Reed show. You don't see a lot of that type of shows nowadays because the Little Housewife norm has changed because us women are out getting their own jobs and nowadays most families is a two working parent family. It's no more the wife stays at home and doesn't have a life outside of the house. Nowadays, you can have a life beyond the house. Okay. I've heard of the Donna Reed show, never seen it. No, maybe nowadays Donna Reed show is streaming. No, somewhere. You just have to look high and low and hard for it. Okay, let's move on from Donna Stone to number 4, and it is June Cleaver from Leave It to Beaver. And sorry, my cat is being a grump today. Okay, June Cleaver. June Cleaver is practically the typical. If you think of a 50s housewife, you think of June Cleaver. June Cleaver is a fictional mother that was born on December 26, 1960. So far, she's the oldest mother in this video. Not the only mother. It's older. She was born as June Evelyn Bronson. June Cleaver is a principal character in the American television sitcom Leave It to Beaver. June is married to Ward Cleaver. June and her husband Ward are often in as archetypical suburb parents of the 1950s. More or less, they're the type of parents that were typically would be found in the 50s. The wife stays at home while the husband goes to work. Okay, the couple are parents of 2 sons named Wally and Beaver Cleaver. Sorry. It rhymes. Beaver Cleaver.
Why am I hearing it stupid? I'm hearing this book.
It's the bird's ghost. Unless Dash shoved it somewhere.
You must have showed this somewhere, Stash. I heard it, but I don't. Well, go funny stuff.
Okay. June Cleaver and her family are in the TV series Leave It to Beaver. They live at the fictional address of 485 Mapleton Drive in Mayfield, a suburb of Los Angeles, California, USA. So you'll notice there's a theme. All these moms live in different parts of the United States. But the family moved to another fictional address, 211 Pine Street in Mayfield, a suburb of Los Angeles, California, USA. They stayed in the same town but moved to a different address. Me and Anita, I can understand that. Me and Anita moved to 3 addresses in this town. I'm not telling you guys where we live. We don't need stalkers at our door. You're probably lovely people, but there's some strange people out there. Oh. It happens that people do move around.
I do as much as I can.
Yeah. June Cleaver was 41 years old when Leave It to Beaver started in 1957. She was 47 years old when Leave It to Beaver ended in 1963. So she was in her middle age. She was a middle-aged woman in this series. Well, let's find out who played the Cleaver family. June Cleaver was played by 2 ladies, Barbara Billingsley and Jean Turner. Ward Cleaver was played by 3 guys, but 2 guys only played him in the TV series. I didn't find out what years that the guys took turns playing Ward, but Hugh Beaumont and Christopher McDonald were the 2 guys that played Ward in the TV series. And Max Showalter played him in It's a Small World. Wally Cleaver was played by 3 guys. Tony Dow, Eric Von Denton. Those 2, Tony and Eric, played Wally in the TV series. Michael Idam played him in Scrooged. Beaver Cleaver was played by Jerry Mathers and Carmen Finley. Okay. Let's move on from June, which I say that you think of a 50s housewife, you think of June Cleaver. And Stash, say hi. Everybody remember Miss Stash? Hi, Stash.
I tried to do this terrifying.
Okay. Number 5. And number 5 is Margaret Williams from Make Room for Daddy / The Danny Thomas Show. Margaret Williams is a fictional mother that was born in 1938. But her main name was never explicitly had a main name revealed on Make Room for Daddy / Danny Thomas Show. Margaret Williams is a serious and loving wife to her husband, Danny Williams. Okay, when I was making this script, I found out Margaret Williams from Make Room for Daddy / Danny Thomas Show is Danny Williams's first wife. Later on, we'll find out who Danny's second wife in the series was. Because after a while, he did get married. Again. Margaret and Danny have a daughter named Terry Williams and a son named Rusty Williams. It's not the first time I ever heard of Rusty and anything. There's a what?
I'm looking for the on my blender.
I put it away.
Wow.
It's in the pantry.
Oh, the bottom's over here.
Oh. Oh well.
I'm even on the...
Oh well, we can pull it out. Okay. First, as I say, it's not the first time I've ever heard of the name Rusty being anything in any type of film. I heard it in the National Lampoon series. Margaret and her family live in Hollywood, California, USA. Margaret Williams had died suddenly off screen. That does happen when an actor or actress doesn't want to play the role again. Or actually, there's a few things why they would kill a character off. Whether the actor or actress had died, like in the case of Will Geer, they killed out Grandpa Walton because Will Geer had died on the Waltons. Or another case is, or like some of the cast from Glee had died, so their characters got killed off. And that's because so they don't want to, the producers don't want to recast so they just save money and just kill the character off. So or another case is if the actress is so famously, or actor is so famously doesn't want to play that character again. like wants to move on and do something else, another project. Like in the case of Jean Stapleton, she was famous to playing Edith Bunker on All in the Family and Archie's Place. So when she didn't want to continue playing Edith Bunker anymore, she wanted to go on and do another project and not continue the rest of her career being Edith Bunker. So in that case, they, instead of recasting the role of Edith Bunker, they just killed her off screen like they did with the character Margaret Williams on Make Room for Daddy / The Danny Thomas Show. Because in that, now it's a little different if the character isn't killed off and they just want to just recast like they did with Harriet Winslow on Family Matters, and they had somebody else play it. But then you can really notice the change of the character's appearance and voice. They also did that with Fresh Prince. They recast. It was like, okay, that's just weird. Okay. We'll find out who played the Williamses from Danny's first wife. Margaret Williams was played by Jean Harrigan. Danny Williams was played by Danny Thomas, which the show is named after. Terry Williams, it was played by a couple of people. First, Sherry Jackson from 1953 to 1958, so the first half of that show. And Penny Parker played the role from 1959 to 1960, so she played it in the later last half of the show. And Rusty Williams was played by Rusty Hammer. That's neat. It's interesting how they cast an actor to play a character that has the first name as the actor. Like Danny Thomas, he plays a character that's first name is his first name. Okay, let's move on from Margaret Williams to number 6, and number 6 is Alice Mitchell. That's another woman you think of a 50s housewife. And she's from the Dennis the Menace TV series. And that's a show that's been adapted over and over, kind of like the Addams Family. Sounds like my roommate's bored. Alice Mitchell is a fictional mother that was born sometime in the early 1900s. I couldn't narrow down what year she was born. Sometime in the early 19th century. As Alice Johnson, Alice is portrayed as a kind, patient, and good-natured woman who is a constant source of support and understanding mother who manages to deal with her son Dennis's antics with a smile. I don't know how anybody could put up a menace of a child like Dennis.
Yeah, menace cat, whatever she is. I don't know what she is.
She must. You wonder if it's ever going in Alice's mind on that TV show. Maybe she's thinking one of these days Dennis is gonna grow up and move out.
How many do you have left?
I'm on number 6. Alice is married to Henry Mitchell, which is weird. When I was making this script, the IA thing for Google said that Alice was married to George Mitchell. Who the hell is George Mitchell? I know George Wilson. That's the neighbor. Maybe George Mitchell is Henry's father. Something we're not being told.
No, there's another character played Henry Mitchell.
Could have.
How many do you have to do? We gotta do
10. So I'm on 6, so figure it out. Alice is married. Okay, Alice and Henry have one child named Dennis Mitchell, and that's probably enough for them. The way Dennis acts in the series, in the movies. They're probably thinking, I don't think we need to have 2 Dennis. Alice and her family live at 2251 Pine Street. Hopefully I get this name right. Wichita, Kansas, USA. So they're from the same state as Dorothy Gale from The Wizard of Oz. We're off to see the wizard, the wonderful Wizard of Oz. Okay, let's find out who plays the Mitchell family before we have to split this block sand. Alice Mitchell was played by Gloria Henry. Interesting. The actress that plays hers on-screen husband his name is Henry. Henry Mitchell was played by Hubert Anderson. I wonder if he went by Hube. Oh, it went by Herb. Herbert Anderson. Dennis Mitchell was played by Jay North, and Jay North just passed away last month. Like, I think the 6th. I looked it up. Not every member of the Dennis the Menace show from the 50s, or not all passed away, but I think I counted about 23. But the one that plays Margaret in the series is still alive. You know Margaret, the one that has the crush on Dennis. And Dennis has nothing to do with her. It's like, ew, girls, goodies, get away. They were all like that when we were kids. Thanks. Okay, let's move on to number 7. Ruth Martin from Lassie. Do you you know lassie is a Gaelic word for girl? I know a little bit of Gaelic words. My grandpa used to teach me. He tried to teach me some when he was alive. And laddie is a Gaelic word for boy. So, lassie is a girl. Okay, Ruth Martin is a fictional mother that was born on June 25th, 1925. So she was born in the Roaring Twenties. You think of it, we're in the Roaring Twenties again, right?
Still listening. I'm trying to tell these people.
As Ruth Lockhart. Ruth Martin became Timmy's adopted mom when Paul and her moved to the farm. Until they left, Timmy and Lassie in the United States to go to Australia. Hopefully Timmy was older when they did that, or left them with a family member. Ruth was married to Paul Martin. So when the character, not the former Canadian Prime Minister. When Ruth married Paul, that's when she became Timmy's adopted mom. I guess Timmy was Paul's kid and Ruth adopted him. Okay, let's see who played the Martin family. Ruth Martin was played by Cloris Leachman. You'll recognize that name from, she was played on Facts of Life as Mrs. Garrett's sister. Okay, and Cloris was played Ruth Martin from season 4 to season 5. And June Lockhart took over, and I guess she played Ruth Martin for the rest of the series. Paul Martin, the character on this show, was played by John Stepdod. Actually, played by two guys. So first, John Stepdod, spelled the French way, Jon. From 1957 to 1958. So he only played Paul for a year. And then Hugh Riley took over and played the role from 1958 to 64. So for the rest of the remainder of the series. Timmy Martin was played by John Provis and spelled the same way as the original guy that played Timmy's dad. And Lassie, get this, was played by 9 different dogs, because I heard once that the reason why they had 9 different dogs play Lassie through the series, I guess each one of them had passed away. And I think I heard once all the collies weren't all female. They were all, some of them were guy dogs, so some of them were laddies. So, Okay, let's move on from Ruth Martin to number 8, which is Kathy Williams from Make Room for Daddy / Danny Thomas Show. And I'm almost done, Anita. After
I'm almost done. I got this to do.
Okay, I got only 2 left.
I got this and the 2 Coffee Moms and that's it.
Okay.
But I'll keep in mind for the day in case I have more later.
Okay, Kathy Williams from Make Room for Daddy / Danny Thomas Show. Had to tell her that because she was wondering how many I had left. Okay. Kathy Williams is a fictional mother that's birth years unknown. She was born sometime in, but it's unknown. We don't know. And she was born as Kathy O'Hara. She was Irish. Kathy Williams is Danny's second wife. Yeah, you remember how I said before that Danny Williams had got hitched before for the second time because his wife had died. First wife, Margaret, had died, so he thought after a little time maybe it'd be a good idea to find love again. Kathy is a widow that has one daughter named Linda. Perfect. They got something in common. He's a widower. She's a widow. Perfect. He's got 2 and she's got 1. It's kind of like the 50s Brady Bunch with less children. Yeah. As they would call them nowadays, blended family. Kathy came into Danny's life as a nurse when his son Rusty fell ill with the measles. That's something we're going through nowadays, is a measles outbreak. We get over COVID, now we're dealing with measles. What next? And Danny hired Kathy, a young Irish nurse, to look after Rusty. She's qualified. She's got her PhD in nursing. On an episode of Make Room for Daddy. I'm not sure what episode it was. I couldn't find it. It's like the Danny Thomas Show. Danny and Kathy became fast friends. Why not? His kid's 6, so she's going to be around a lot. And not surprisingly, Danny fell in love with Kathy. Oh, you have to be happy for him. He fell in love again. Aww. As did his kiss. Okay, that is a plus when the kids are liking the girl the lady that Dad is going for. The kids that if you're dating a person that is has kids, the kids are the ones that'll make or break a relationship. If they're not feeling it and they're weirded out by the person, then It's not gonna happen. Now, if they are loving this person, then go for it. Ask her to pop the question. Do it. Go. Do it. In the season finale, the two became engaged. Yay! I'm excited, and I haven't even seen this show. I'm just happy for this guy. He found love all over again. Him and Kathy are gonna get running down that aisle and saying I do's, and the minister gonna say, and now I pronounce you husband and wife. And got married. I think I read they got married in Vegas. Viva, viva, viva Las Vegas. And then he honeymooned in Vegas. Why not? You're there. There's some rooms. The two, okay. And after Kathy and Danny got married, she became a stepmom of two children, Terry and Rusty, and Danny became a stepdad to Kathy's daughter Linda. Great big happy family. And Kathy and her family, I should say Kathy and her new family, lived in Hollywood, California, USA. Coffee and I got the grounds. Yuck. Okay. Let's see who played the Williams family from Danny's second wife, Kathy. Kathy Williams was played by Marjorie Lloyd. And Danny Williams was played by Danny Thomas, like I said when we were talking about his first wife, Margaret. Rusty Williams was played by Rusty Hammer, like I said, and we're talking about Margaret Williams. Terry Williams was played by Sherry Jackson. Actually, as I said before, she was played by two ladies, Sherry Jackson and Penny Parner. Sherry played Terry in the early half of the series, and Penny Parker, played her in the later half. And Linda Williams, the new member of the Williams family, was played by Angela Cartwright. Every time I hear the name Cartwright, it sounds like a good Western name, cowboy name. Watch out for Cartwright. There you go. It's nice that Danny Williams in the TV show Make Room for Daddy / Danny Thomas show had found love again. He fell hard for an Irish woman. Who doesn't love the Irish? I'm a little bit Irish. There's actually a spin-off or sequel to the Make Room for Daddy. It's called Make Room for Granddaddy. I guess Danny Williams became a grandpa. One of his 3 kids blessed him with grandkids, I guess. Or unless his father moved in. Okay, now we're going to move on from Kathy Williams, the Irish stepmom, to number 9. And number 9 is our non-fictional woman. She's real life. At least she was when she was alive. And I bet you can't guess who it is. Away from it. I guess you can't. You'll never guess. It's Harriet Nelson from The Adventures of Ozzie and Harriet. Yeah, she's our non-fictional woman. Beyond all of these other women that are fictional on this episode. Okay, Harriet Nelson was played by herself, Harriet Nelson, on The Adventures of Ozzie and Harriet TV show. Ozzie and Harriet was born on July 18th, 1909. So she is our oldest mom on this. Because she was born in the early 19th century. In Des Moines, Iowa, USA, as Peggy Lou Snyder. Harriet Nelson was a wit, sassy, bold personality, often portrayed as a bombshell of the family, but she was presented as a loving and supportive wife and mother. Yet also as a woman who enjoyed her independence. Probably very groundbreaking for that time, that having a woman that enjoys her independence. And had a sense of humor. I guess you have to have a sense of humor in the 50s. It's always good anytime, any decade, to laugh at yourself and giggle and find something funny. Harriet was married to Ozzie Nelson. They had 2 sons, David and Ricky Nelson. Harriet and her family lived at 1822 Camino Palomino Street, Los Angeles, California, USA. Ozzie, David, and Ricky Nelson played themselves on The Adventures of Ozzie and Harriet. And all 4 of them, I looked it up, are all passed away. Like Harriet Nelson, when she died, I was just still in elementary. That'd be 94, so long time ago. I was the little kid. Yeah, Ricky Nelson, he was a singer. I think it was Ricky Nelson's kid that was on, I know it's one of Ozzie and Harriet's grandsons that was on episode of Days of Jordan the Lion. And talking about the house that he used to live. It might have been Ricky Nelson. No.
This book.
Okay, I'm on the last one. Okay, let's move on from Harriet Nelson, our non-fictional mom, because she was real. Okay, we're gonna move on to our last mom, our last fictional mom. And she's on number 10 and is Peg Riley from Life of Riley. Peg Riley is a fictional mother that was born on January 3rd, 1911. Well, they said she was in her late 30s, so I kind of calculated with the age I am now to the age that the year that the show started. Because this show started in the 40s, so I came up with 1911. The year before the Titanic sunk in the ocean. But Peg Riley's maiden name was never mentioned on the Life of Riley. Peg Riley was typically portrayed as a patient and often calm figure and a constant to her husband's biased nature. Peg Riley was married to Chester A. Riley, and she was the mother to their one daughter, Barbara, nicknamed Babs. Every time I hear the name Babs, it reminds me of Babs Bunny from Tiny Toons. You know, you were toony, you were all a little loony. Riley, their one son, Chester Riley Jr., nicknamed Junior because he was junior, because his dad was senior. Peg and her family lived in a aircraft plant in California, USA. There's a lot of moms in this script, in this episode that lived in California. Peg was played. Okay, let's see who played the Riley family. Peg Riley was played by two ladies. First by Marjorie Reynolds, I'm not sure the year she played her. And then Rosemary DeCamp played her. I guess it must be Marjorie played her in the early half of the series, and Rosemary played her in the later half. Chester A. Riley was played by two guys. William Bendix, and the other guy, some of you ever watched The Honeymooners would recognize this name. Jackie Gleason. Yeah, Jackie Gleason played Chester A. Riley. Barbara Babs Riley was played by two ladies, Gloria Winters and Louie Jean Sanders. I guess one of them played the character in the first half of the series, and the other one played in the later half. And Chester A. Riley Jr. was played by Wesley Morgan and Lanny Reese. I guess that was just say one played him in really half of the series and the other one played in the later half. So. Okay, if you like this, hopefully you like this and found this very interesting and felt we just went back in time through this series. If you like this, maybe I'll keep on doing this type of thing every year around Mother's Day. Maybe next year we'll explore the mothers of the 60s TV. Very groovy. And then we'll 70s, 80s, 90s, straight to modern day. Because there's mothers that's been right through the history of TV. I know, I did miss the 30s and the 40s. I know some people will comment, you missed the 30s and the 40s. Maybe I'll recap and go back to the 30s and the 40s. Okay. I better sign off. If you know the drill. If you like this, then like and subscribe, and don't forget to comment. Is there something else I'm missing?
Ring the bell.
Ring the bell, because that'll help.
Ring the bell.
That'll help you be notified every time I release a new episode on this channel, Weird, Scary, and Interesting. And comments just tells me how you're liking it. You think about this content I'm releasing. So I better sign off. So for now, till I don't know what I'm doing next week, whatever. I'll say goodbye. So goodbye.